The case we are going to talk about today is one of the most terrifying and mysterious mysteries in America. A story that shook the country and forever changed the perception of how terrible events can happen even in the most prosperous families. We are talking about 6-year-old JonBenet Ramsey, a girl who was her parents' favorite, a little star of children's beauty pageants and the future hope of the family. But on the night after Christmas 1996, her life was tragically cut short, and the crime committed in her own home remains one of the most high-profile and unsolved mysteries in U.S. history. This case is full of contradictions, strange evidence, and numerous investigative errors. It has given rise to dozens of theories, hundreds of articles and documentaries, but the main question, who killed JonBenet Ramsey, still has no answer. Today we will analyze everything in order. From the morning call to the police to the mysterious ransom letter, from the strange behavior of the family to the versions of an outsider. This is a story that has been haunting for almost 3 decades. December 26, 1996, was supposed to be a normal winter morning in the Ramsey family home in Boulder, Colorado. The house, surrounded by snow-capped hills and quiet streets, looked perfect, decorated with Christmas lights, filled with the smell of fresh coffee and holiday food. No one could have imagined that it was in this cozy home that an event would happen that would shake the whole world. Early in the morning, Patricia Ramsey, JonBenet's mother, went to the kitchen to make breakfast. As usual, the kitchen was brightly lit by the morning light, the light falling softly on the white countertop, on which there were cups and Christmas decorations. But something in the air was wrong. On the table, she noticed an envelope lying separately from all the mail. It was handwritten on a regular sheet of legal pad, and Patricia immediately felt alarmed. The letter looked strange, unnaturally long and overly dramatic, as if written by a person who wanted to impress. The letter contained a ransom demand of $118,000. The amount was precise and immediately raised questions. It was the same amount of money that John Ramsey had recently received as a bonus at work. The letter had threats at the beginning, detailed instructions in the middle, and a strange explanation of motives at the end. It was long, emotionally charged, with an emphasis on drama and attention to every detail. Many experts later claimed that the style of the letter was more like a dramatization than a real demand from the kidnappers. Patricia called the police in a panic. Her voice was shaking, her words were slurred, and her heart was beating as if it were about to jump out of her chest.
911 emergency.
Police.
What's going on?
515th Street.
What's going on there, ma'am?
We have a kidnapping. Hurry, please.
Explain to me what's going on, okay?
There's a note left and our daughter's gone.
A note was left and your daughter is gone? How old is your daughter?
6 years old. She's blonde. 6 years old.
How long ago was this?
I don't know. I just found the note. And my daughter's gone.
Does it say who took her?
What?
Does it say who took her?
I don't know. There's a ransom note here.
It's a ransom note?
It says SBTC. Victory. Please.
Okay, what's your name? Are you
Kathy Ramsey. I'm the mother. Oh my God. Please.
I'm sending an officer over, okay?
Please.
Do you know how long she's been gone?
No, I don't. Please, we just got out and she's right here. Oh my God, please.
Okay,
Please, there's somebody.
I am, honey.
Please.
Take a deep breath,
Please,
okay?
hurry.
Kathy.
When the police arrived, the officers were prepared for a routine extortion case, but they were in for a real nightmare. They inspected the house, and soon their attention was drawn to the basement. The descent down the slippery wooden stairs plunged into semi-darkness, and even the weak light of the flashlights could not completely dispel the shadows that fell on the cold concrete walls. There they found the body of 6-year-old JonBenet Ramsey, neatly folded, but with obvious signs of violence. strangled with a blow to the head. The crime scene was mysterious. There were no signs of forced entry. Neither the doors nor the windows were damaged. The house looked as if the perpetrator was inside and could move freely. A letter on the kitchen table left the impression that someone wanted to distract attention or create the appearance of a kidnapping. The police began examining the evidence. Cameras recorded every inch of the basement and kitchen. For the first time, oddities were noted. Dirt on the stairs, handprints on the walls, shoe prints that, as it turned out, belonged to family members. But even these details did not provide a clear answer. The police were stunned by how perfectly the scene was thought out, but at the same time how ridiculous and unnatural everything looked. In the first hours of the investigation, the media attention fell on the house. Reporters stood behind the fences, cameras recorded every move the police made, and journalists discussed every detail, from the length of the letter to the position of the body in the basement. Mistakes in police work, slow protocols, insufficient protection of the scene, the movement of objects, became the subject of subsequent criticism and analysis. The Ramsey house, which had previously seemed a symbol of well-being and stability, turned into the epicenter of mystery and horror. Neighbors whispered, journalists filmed from the street, and analysts around the world began to build versions and theories. The letter in the kitchen, the body in the basement, the lack of an external break-in, all this made the case as confusing and mystical as possible. The tragedy of JonBenet Ramsey is a story that has left an indelible mark on the American consciousness. Almost 3 decades have passed since that fateful morning, December 26, 1996, when the world learned of the death of a 6-year-old girl whose life seemed serene, full of children's smiles, beauty contests, and caring parents. But that day, this world collapsed, and the house in which she lived turned into a crime scene, full of mysteries and horrors. Every detail of this case is astonishing. The Ramsey house, luxurious and cozy, with its Christmas lights, warm light, soft smell of coffee, and freshly baked goods, suddenly turned into the epicenter of horror. Inside, among the usual order and family comfort, the incomprehensible happened. JonBenet was found dead in the basement, the place where she played, and now became the place of her death. The ransom letter left on the kitchen table still haunts investigators and researchers. Long and emotionally charged, it demanded an amount equal to the girl's father's bonus, and its style seemed unnatural, as if someone was trying to create the impression of a kidnapping. The letter included threats, instructions, and detailed descriptions that created the illusion of a carefully planned crime. But at the same time, it looked theatrical, almost staged, which gave rise to many doubts about the real criminal. The police who arrived at the scene were faced with an incredible mystery. The basement where the body was found was carefully examined, but no signs of forced entry were found. The doors and windows were closed, the furnishings of the house were intact, and the girl's body was positioned in such a way that the unusualness of the scene was immediately apparent. The police officers described their feelings as a mixture of anxiety and confusion. It seemed that the criminal had not only gotten inside, but also demonstrated unusual cold calculation. The investigative errors only added to the tragedy. Documents, evidence, photographs, and recordings were moved and processed without due system, and the media attention turned the investigation into a show. Reporters photographed every step of the police, discussed every detail of the letter, the position of the body, the reactions of the family. All this created an atmosphere of almost theatrical chaos, in which the true motives and the criminal were lost. The Ramsey family found itself under constant public scrutiny. Accusations were made against the parents. The girl's brother also fell under suspicion, and every little thing, from the mother's behavior on the morning call to the police to the family's habits, was discussed in newspapers and on television. Psychologists and criminologists analyzed the emotions and reactions of the parents, but no precise evidence was ever found. Throughout all these years, the case remained an open mystery. New DNA tests, re-examination of evidence, archival investigations, thousands of pages of reports. All this only emphasized how complex this story is. Theories arose about an outside attacker, a random tragedy within the family, even that it could have been a carefully planned staging. But none of the versions provided a definitive answer. JonBenet Ramsey remained a symbol of innocence and tragedy. Her face, smiling from photos from beauty contests, was forever etched in people's memories, and her death became a reminder that evil can penetrate even the safest and most prosperous homes. And perhaps it is this incomprehensible, disturbing mystery that makes the JonBenet Ramsey case one of the most discussed, shocking, and mystical crimes in America. To this day, people review archives, discuss new versions, try to unravel the motives and identity of the criminal. The case remains cold, but interest in it does not fade. Every new investigation, article, documentary reminds us that the story of JonBenet Ramsey is more than just a crime. It is a lesson in human nature, secrets, and how incomprehensible things can be when they happen in places where we feel safe.